It is now my distinct honor to present our keynote speaker. He held Mississippi's highest office from 1980 to 1984. He is known for his strong support of public education, notably the passage of the 1982 Mississippi Education Reform Act. He is a tireless advocate for historic preservation and for racial reconciliation. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor William F. Winter.
Let me tell you how pleased I am to be here tonight, to see so many friends and new friends, and to be a part of this wonderful event. As I came in tonight, someone said, didn't you speak to one of these dinners before? And I said, yes, about 4 years ago. He said, that's about the right length of time between your speeches. Thank you for your hospitality tonight. Thank you for affording me the opportunity to learn and to be a part of this event, to listen to these inspiring speakers who have preceded me and who have made totally unnecessary anything I might say. Beverly and Hillman, my good friend Preston Hughes, whom I've known for a long time and who is, I think, one of the foremost authorities on Turkey in this country today, and who has served this country so well in that relationship that he has established. So tonight, let me very briefly, you've been here a long time, let me very briefly say just 2 or 3 things that it seems to me appropriate for an occasion like this. And these are totally unsophisticated and uninformed remarks that I'm going to make. I consider myself one of the most fortunate people in the world. I say that seriously. I have been able to live here in Mississippi through some of the most interesting times that any human being could have lived at any point in history. Mississippi has been a laboratory for change. I grew up in a very rural section of North Mississippi. I was a senior in high school before I had been further than Memphis or New Orleans. I was probably as provincial a youngster as came along. And in terms of my religious associations, I was totally submerged, as were most of my contemporaries, in a life where there was one religion, the Protestant Christian religion. I knew a couple of Catholics, but I was told to stay away from them. I knew a few Jews, but I was told don't trust them. I never thought I would ever see a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist. Those stereotypes were too terrible for me to even imagine. And then I come here tonight and I see arrayed in front of me representatives of all of the great faiths of the world. I see people of all races, all religious faiths, gathered together now in a comradeship and a camaraderie on a basis of respect and understanding, of wanting to share with each other their own life experiences, And to think that I have come from that boyhood in rural Mississippi, now to the capital of this state, where we are able to have a meeting like this and where we are able every day to enjoy a wider and wider appreciation of the diversity of the human race, the diversity of our religious faith, the diversity of interests of every kind. But we are challenged, as we have been in the past, to maintain an atmosphere that will enable us to progress from here. Nobody, I think, would say that we have not come a long way in Mississippi. This is a much better state than it was when I was growing up in so many ways, not the least of which has been the relationship between black people and white people. But having said that, also acknowledging that we still have a long way to go. And I'm reminded of what my friend, my old senior friend, the great Jewish writer from Greenville, David Cone, said one time. David Cone, who wrote about his life in the Mississippi Delta in the early part of the 20th century. David Cone said, "With heaven in sight, too many of us insist on marching perversely into hell." And given all of the provocation that is imposed on us in so many ways, and particularly in this worldwide media network in which we live with the 24-hour news coverage, with so many of the misunderstandings that come out of that in this sophisticated system of communications that we've developed, we still insist on misunderstanding who we are and what our relationship is to our fellow human beings. And you and I have a responsibility to tell and to teach our fellow human beings with whom we come in contact in so many ways, and especially our young people. You and I have a responsibility to tell them the truth, to tell them what I think is at the basic of all faiths, and that is the relationship of people to each other in a way where we respect each other without having to be like each other, without having to believe the same thing, but at the same time respecting what others do believe. This is the challenge that is before us now. And I must tell you, I am concerned about the divisiveness that I see here in our own country, divisiveness based on partisan differences, on religious differences, on racial differences, on economic differences. Now is the time, it seems to me, regardless of what our religious faith may be, to come together as members of the same race, the human race, as the children of a God that I believe is the God of all of us, regardless of however we may worship that God, and proclaim that we are going to overcome the bias and the prejudice, and the ignorance and the hatred that keeps us apart. That is what I think this interfaith dialogue ought to be about. This is what I think our basic responsibility is to ourselves, and especially to those who come after us, to make sure, as surely as we can, building on our respective faiths, the final unifying of people of the world, based on love, and a responsibility to try to see to it that peace prevails over war. That is our responsibility. We can't shuffle that off to anybody else. That is our responsibility as informed religious people to make that our witness. And so I am honored to be here with you and to share with you the inspiration of this evening and the fellowship of this occasion. Thank you so much.